On September 3rd, 2009, in the opening game of the college football season, a single punch would ignite a national controversy, derail a promising career, and forever change how the football world saw trash talk and post-game emotions. This is the story of LeGarrette Blount, Byron Hout, Boise State versus Oregon, and the punch that changed college football. To understand what happened on that fateful Thursday night, you need to understand the context. The game was more than just a season opener. It was a clash of cultures, reputations, and pressure boiling beneath the surface. In one corner, you had the Boise State Broncos, the darlings of the mid-majors, a team that had become America's favorite underdog ever since the miraculous Fiesta Bowl win over Oklahoma in 2007. They were fast, disciplined, and efficient, and most importantly, they were still fighting for respect. In the other corner, you have the Oregon Ducks, flashy Pac-10 giants with Nike money, high expectations, and a bruising tailback named LeGarrette Blount who had rushed over 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns the year prior. But the Ducks had something else too. A new head coach, Chip Kelly, in his very first game as the man in charge. But who was LeGarrette Blount before Oregon? Blount was not your typical five-star blue-chip recruit. Coming out of Taylor County High School in Perry, Florida, Blount was lightly recruited due to academic issues and off-field concerns. Despite racking over 1,000 yards in his senior year and showing flashes of NFL-caliber power and agility, most major programs passed on him. He ended up attending East Mississippi Community College. Yes, the same junior college made famous years later by Last Chance U. And there, he absolutely dominated. Blount rushed for over 1,000 yards in both seasons at EMCC and earned junior college All-American honors. By the time he left junior college, he was one of the most coveted junior college backs in the country. Oregon swooped in and gave him a shot. In 2008, Blount made an immediate impact, racking up 1,000 rushing yards and tying a school record with 17 rushing touchdowns. So this game against Boise State was supposed to be the next step, the launch pad into stardom, maybe even the NFL. And this game was personal for Oregon too. In 2008, Boise State had embarrassed them in Eugene. Final score, 37-32. But it wasn't as close as it looked. Boise State freshman quarterback Kellen Moore picked apart the Ducks, and Oregon never forgot it. This was the rematch. And for LeGarrette Blount, it was more than that. It was redemption. In the weeks leading up to the game, tension simmered. Blount, never one to hold his tongue, told Sports Illustrated, "We owe that team an ass whooping." And Boise State took note. The media ran with it. Suddenly, the polite preseason storyline became something spicier. This wasn't just Pac-10 versus the Western Athletic Conference. It was swag versus structure, ego versus execution. Blount was viewed as a bruiser with a chip on his shoulder, and Boise was eager to prove they weren't a one-hit wonder. Meanwhile, Blount had already been under scrutiny in the offseason. There were rumors of attitude issues, missed workouts, and a suspension in the spring. For Chip Kelly, this was his first game. He needed his senior tailback to deliver. September 3rd, 2009, Bronco Stadium, blue turf, nationally televised on ESPN. From the opening snap, it was clear. Boise State came to play. The Ducks, on the other hand, looked rattled. Sloppy execution, missed tackles, poor blocking. The high-octane offense Chip Kelly had promised? Nowhere to be found. Blount was completely shut down. He finished the night with -5 rushing yards on 8 carries. It was one of the worst performances of his career. Meanwhile, Boise State played smart, efficient football. Kellen Moore managed the game, and the Broncos won 19-8. And Oregon didn't score until there was just a few minutes left in the game. The Ducks were humiliated yet again. And then, things got ugly. As the teams began walking toward midfield for the post-game handshake, Boise State defensive end Byron Hout walked up to LeGarrette Blount. Hout clapped in Blount's face, said something, and even gave him a little shove, all while smiling. What he said, we don't know for sure. But we do know it wasn't great game. There was heavy speculation about what Hout said. Some onlookers and reporters believe Hout taunted Blount by mocking his pre-game comment to Sports Illustrated. One common theory is that he said something like, "How's that ass whooping now?" Others speculated it was more personal, maybe referencing Blount's struggle, suspension, or even NFL hopes. Whatever it was, it clearly hit a nerve. Blount's response was instant. A hard right hook landed squarely on Hout's jaw, dropping him to his knees. Chaos erupted. Coaches scrambled. Teammates tried to hold Blount back, but he wasn't done yet. Oh no. He tried to go after Boise State fans who were heckling him from the stands. He tried to pull off some Ron Artest action, if you know what I mean. Security had to escort him off the field. The camera caught everything. ESPN aired the footage on a loop. Within hours, it was viral. Within 24 hours, Oregon suspended Blount for the entire season. Chip Kelly, again, the Oregon coach, said, "We will not put up with that. This is not what the University of Oregon stands for." The suspension was one of the harshest penalties ever handed down for an on-field incident, but many felt it was justified. The punch had become a national story. Some of Blount's teammates also came to his defense in the days following the incident. Oregon linebacker Casey Matthews said, "People are quick to judge, but they don't know what kind of teammate LeGarrette is in the locker room. He made a mistake, but he's not a bad guy." Oregon quarterback Jeremiah Mozali added, "That's our brother. He slipped up, but he's still part of the team, and we have his back." Meanwhile, Byron Hout, he didn't throw a punch. He didn't even retaliate, partially because he trembled to the floor after getting clocked. He was then quickly pulled away by Boise State head coach Chris Peterson, who seemed to know how quickly this could escalate. Hout wasn't suspended, but he did receive, quote, internal discipline, according to Boise State. The Blount punch dominated the sports news cycle for weeks. Some commentators called Blount to be permanently banned from college football. Others argued argument, the reaction was overblown, especially given that Hout provoked it. The debate was fierce. Was the suspension too harsh? Should Boise have disciplined Hout more? Was the media fueling a racial narrative? But lost in the noise was Blount himself. Publicly, he apologized. He called the punch a terrible mistake. He said he let the team down. The punch may have dominated the headlines, but neither team let it define their season. After the incident, Boise State didn't just move on, they dominated. The Broncos finished the season undefeated, going 14-0 and beating TCU in the 2010 Fiesta Bowl. It cemented their status as the most dangerous mid-major in the country and helped spark a broader debate about whether schools from non-power conferences deserved a shot at the BCS title. From Oregon's perspective, many expected Oregon to spiral after the punch, but instead they rallied together. Chip Kelly's high-speed offense began to click. Jeremiah Mozali stepped up at the quarterback, and the Ducks went on a run. By November, with Oregon making a run for the Rose Bowl, the university and the NCAA quietly explored whether Blount could be reinstated. Kelly had said from the beginning that Blount would have to earn his way back, and earn it he did. On November 14th, only 2 months after the punch, Blount was reinstated. He returned to the field against Arizona in the Ducks' final regular season game. In that game, Blount carried the ball 9 times for 36 yards and scored a critical touchdown in Oregon's double overtime victory, helping them edge out Arizona 44-41. Though his role was limited, Blount made his presence felt. He didn't just return, he contributed. And in doing so, he redeemed himself in the eyes of his team and much of the college football world. After Arizona, Oregon faced their arch-rival Oregon State in the Civil War, a game that decided the Pac-10 title. Oregon won a thrilling 37-33 contest, punching their ticket to the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. Then, in that 2010 Rose Bowl game against Ohio State, the Ducks fought hard, but ultimately fell 26-17 to a Buckeye team that relied on a dominant defense and efficient offense. As for LeGarrette Blount, he did not play in the Oregon State game or the Ohio State game. Although he had been reinstated and returned in the Arizona game, Chip Kelly opted not to use him in the regular season finale, leaning instead on LaMichael James and other backs to carry the load. Kelly never provided a detailed explanation, but many speculated it was a decision based on rhythm, trust, and continuity, as the offense had been clicking with James in the lead role. Others saw it as Kelly continuing to keep Blount on a short leash. Even after reinstatement, LeGarrette Blount went undrafted in the 2010 NFL Draft, but he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then later the New England Patriots, because if it's one team that likes controversial player histories, it's the Pats. And his NFL career, surprisingly successful. He rushed for over 6,000 yards and 58 touchdowns, winning 3 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. He became known as a tough, reliable power back and a locker room leader, ironically. Byron Hout, meanwhile, never made it to the NFL. He became a graduate assistant at Boise State and later moved into coaching roles, all with a sore right jaw. He served as a linebackers coach at Utah State and eventually became the defensive coordinator at the University of Memphis. Their careers took different paths, but for better or worse, they always will be linked by that one punch. So what do we learn from this Blount incident? Some say it's a cautionary tale about keeping emotions in check. Others say it highlights how trash talk can cross the line. But most importantly, exposed the raw, emotional underbelly of college football. The pressure, the pride, the consequences of a moment. Today, when players talk trash after a game, there's always that unspoken reminder. Don't be the next Blount. And yet, Blount's redemption story is equally powerful. He didn't just punch a guy, he owned it. He took the punishment and he came back stronger. If you like this breakdown and one of college football's wildest moments, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments who should we cover next. Thanks for watching.